Hello everyone, this is your host Vaibhav. In today's session of Daily Stock, we are going to consider the quarterly reports for the athletic apparel company, the Lululemon Athletica Inc. It provides the apparels for the various activity-driven requirements, yoga, running, and sports included. And apart from that, it has been trying to offer innovative products in these personal wear segments. And I think with its apparels making a mark on the minds of these users, it is going to see considerable growth in the coming quarters. And even for the last quarter, that is the fourth quarter of fiscal year 2023, its earnings are good. It's not bad from any angle, but despite that, its stock price has dropped, and I am going to try to explain to you why that has happened and what we can do about it in the coming weeks, coming months to position ourselves for the profitable trades and investment opportunities in this stock. So first thing first, we are going to consider its quarterly report. Afterwards, we will also consider its recent stock price performance to see how things are stacking up for the company. Is a quarterly report which is available on the investors relations page of the Lululemon Athletica Inc. and it is a publicly available document. For in-depth analysis, you can always refer to it. I'm just simply going to take you through the key highlights of the company's earnings report. And if you read the report, the first thing you will notice is that the company's earnings, the top line and the bottom line, is growing in double digits, and so has been its recent stock price performance. By recent, I mean recent months, recent quarters, not only recent sessions. And if you then look at the broader picture, you will see that this is a growth company. Its mission is also to double its revenues from the levels of 6.5 billion in the year 2021 to 12.5 billion US dollars for the fiscal year 2026, and I feel it is on track to reach that target. Of course, it is still some distance away, but it is taking its operational efficiency and the product innovation seriously, and it is trying to achieve that goal. It has already crossed the 10 billion mark, and I feel in 2 fiscal years it is pretty much likely to be in the ballpark of that target. Now, here are the key highlights. The net revenue is up for the quarter by 16 percentage point to US dollar 3.2 billion. The revenue from the America is also up 9%, whereas the international revenue has grown phenomenally by 54%. But net increase is at 16% because the contribution from the international market is expanding, but it is expanding on a lower base, whereas the revenues from the United States and Canada is still on the dominating side. The comparable sales are up 12 percentage point, and it will be a bit difficult for us to read through all these pros. Instead of that, we will simply focus on its earnings report, and in it you can get the idea of the company's financials. For the revenue figures, the net revenues have risen to US dollar 3.2 billion from US dollar 2.77 billion a year back, and for the whole year, its revenue is now little shy of 10 billion mark. It is at US dollar 9.6 billion, and that's almost 20 percentage point growth from US dollar 8.1 billion a year back. And this is the factor I'm talking about. The company is growing, its revenues are growing, its net income is growing. So we have the possibility of it continuing to do well in the coming quarters and coming years and finally achieve its target. The cost of goods sold is around one third in the recent quarters, but if we take into consideration the full year numbers, it is around 40 percentage point. The gross profit is at US dollar 1.9 billion for the quarter. After deducting the selling and administrative expense, which constitute almost 10 percentage of the revenue, we come to this income from the operations, which stood at US dollar 9 point, sorry, not 9 point, it is 913 million. And from that, you have to deduct the tax expenses, and we get the net income figure of US dollar 669 million. That's almost five times growth in the net income from 119 million a year back. And this is the phenomenal growth I'm talking about. But the investors haven't really welcomed this growth with a smile and more money on the table. Instead, they have broadly dumped the stock of the Lululemon Athletica Inc. And why that is happening, I feel that is because in the next quarter, the company is expecting the growth to be in the high single digits. So that will mean the slowing of the revenue growth, and that is something the investors are worried about. Because, as I said, the Lululemon Athletica is targeting for the higher growth, and if its revenues starts to slow, if its revenue growth starts to slow, then that is going to cause a big concern among the investors, and that is why it is showing this decline in the stock price. Because in the earlier pricing, it was anticipated that the Lululemon Inc. will continue to grow in the double digits and might even pick the momentum. But here we have this situation where its revenue growth seems to be slowing. It is still impressive, no doubt about that, but it is slowing, and that is one factor which is causing this decline. And you can also see it as a correction from the prior higher levels, and maybe after due consolidation we will be in a position to then go for a newer long trade as well from the longer term perspective. For the full year, we have seen this doubling of the net income, and this has resulted in the EPS for the quarter being more than 5%, five times of the fourth quarter earnings EPS of the fiscal year 2023. And if we take the full year EPS for the fiscal year 2023, then it is almost double of its level of US dollar 6.68 a year back in fiscal year 2022. So the growth is quite strong, but then we also have to consider this outlook for the fiscal year 2024. And here you can see that the company is expecting its revenues to grow, the net revenues to be in the range of US dollar 10.7 billion to US dollar 10.8 billion, and it is expecting its EPS to grow to US dollar 14, and that is almost 11 to 12 percentage point growth, but still not enough for the investors. The cash flow statement is giving us the overview of the company's financial position. It is having enough of liquidity at hand of US dollar 2.2 billion, which is almost double of what it was having at the start of year, because there has been increase of US dollar 1.09 billion in this ongoing year, and that has taken its cash and cash equivalent, which was at the beginning of the year at usual 1.15 billion. Now it is up to more than usual 2 billions. So the company's cash position is quite comfortable. Now we move to the technical side of the story. This is the longer term chart. Here we have this CFD of Lululemon available since the third quarter of 2022, and that is why this chart is not of longer duration. And in it you can see that its pricing has more than doubled in the span of 2 years, and on these higher levels it is finally seeing some correction. So that is about it. From the longer term perspective, I still feel that the formation is of higher highs and higher lows, and that gives us hope that after things stabilize, and if it doesn't really decline much below the 300 level, 350, 360 price band is going to be crucial for this ongoing decline to stop. And if it doesn't really decline much below that, then I feel in course of time, in coming weeks, in coming months, we can start looking for the opportunity to go long again. But for the time being, of course, we will have to go with the flow. And if we don't really feel like shorting it at the current juncture, I would say that it is better for us to adopt a wait and watch approach. And in course of time, we are going to see that better opportunities are going to come our way. If we expand the chart a bit and go for lower time frame charting with each candle grid now defined at daily, you can see that after making its high around 515 in the month of December, it has been consolidating with slightly bearish bias till the release of its quarterly earnings. And once the quarterly earnings came in, it saw the decline straight from 480 to 380 in just a couple of days. And this swift decline is pointing to the ongoing bearishness, strong bearishness in the price action, in the price formation of the Lululemon Inc. And it is not really expected to change much anytime soon. Here, if we see that it holds close to 340, 350 in the coming days and continues to consolidate at least for a couple of weeks, then maybe we can change our thinking and start looking for the opportunities to go long. But till that happens, it is now in a no trading zone, because we don't really have a good short selling window in the current environment, as the risk reward ratio is not going to be favorable if we go for a short sale after having already seen such a sharp decline. So that rules out any immediate short sell trade. And also, given the strength of the bearishness, we have to be cautious while going for any long trade either. So that also rules out any long trade, any buy trade at the moment for next couple of weeks. So taken together, both these things are pointing to the wait on the sidelines approach is going to be a better idea, and that means we will have to allow it more time for the consolidation to play out, and then in due course of time, a more clearer picture will emerge, and we will be in a position to take trades afterwards. From the short-term perspective, things are in a totally bearish zone, and here also I feel that going for a new short sell trade at the current juncture is not going to be a easy idea either. We will have to allow some consolidation for the next few days, and if it holds close to this price band of 390 to 400 in next few sessions, then if it shows the tilt of the price action on the bearish side, we can even go for further initiation of the short sell trade. And if it doesn't do that and instead starts to make formation which looks like a reversal in ease on cards, we can go for the long trade either. So though both the possibilities are going to be available to us, but the only thing is we will have to sit on the sidelines at least for next few days and allow the consolidation to happen first, and for that the price band of 390 to 400 is going to be crucial. And as long as the price action is close to this price band, in a course of time, we can get a promising trade with good risk reward ratio. But if there is too much of a fluctuation, then I think it will become much difficult for us to go for newer trades. But if there is limited price action and the price continues to move in a narrow range while showing the signs of stabilizing, then of course we can go for the trade depending on the price formation at that juncture. So that's all from my side for today's session, where we discussed the reports, the quarterly earnings for the fourth quarter of fiscal year 2023 for the Lululemon Athletica Inc. And afterwards, we also considered the technical charting with different time frames to see if there are emerging opportunities for us to trade and invest. And on all these three different time horizons, the thing is that we are not really in a position to go for any new trade straight away. But the situation is such that I feel if we keep an eye on these price formation, we are pretty much likely to find a good risk reward ratio and trade so that we can optimize our chances. So that possibility is there for us to exploit as and when it arises. So that's all from my side for today's session. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, do write to me in the feedback, and I will be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Thank you all for joining in. Have a fabulous day ahead. See you next time around. Till then, goodbye.